because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Busy Tuesday as usual. Our normal Tuesday guest will be along. That's Glenn West coming up in 30 minutes. Sharif Ishak at the bottom of hour number 2. I spent 3 hours up at LSU today. We watched practice for 2 hours and then had player interviews afterward, and really got some good stuff from a player interview perspective. I've got a piece coming up on some of the things that Jack Pyburn told us later on this afternoon. I thought he was great. We talked to Mansour Delane. We'll hear from him in hour number 2 today. Also got a chance to talk to Barry and Brown, got a chance to talk to Bauer Sharp. So a lot of that will be coming up on sound on this show and on AFR, and certainly over at LouisianaSports.net via written form. But so lots of LSU football is what I'm trying to get to here. We'll talk about that a good bit. LSU and UNO tonight from the box at 6:30. So certainly talk about that. Sharif will be along to talk about all things Saints. I want to talk about one thing specifically with Sharif in the second hour on the Saints. They've restructured Cam Jordan's deal. They've restructured Tyrann Mathieu's deal. You feel like Demario Davis is maybe in his last contract at Saints. I want to talk about what those three guys have to offer the 2025 Saints, so we'll do that in hour number 2 as well. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Let's get this thing started the way we start every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
So I was out at practice today, and we got a chance to see more. I feel like I'm pretty open with y'all when we have limited practice access. When they tell us we can go to practice for 20 minutes, I'll be very honest with you. Trying to get a segment out of that here and a practice report on LouisianaSports.net is not all that easy. Like, it's not. I wish I was super perceptive or I don't know. It's just there's not a lot going on in 20 minutes. When we can watch for 2 hours, I can get you some information. And so I got 2 hours worth of information today, and we'll kind of get into it. And I want to start with the LSU offense today. We're seeing a lot of the same front for LSU on the offensive line. Tyree Adams and Weston Davis at the tackles. Tyree Adams at left, Weston Davis at right. You're seeing a lot of Paul Mabenga at guard. You're seeing a lot of DJ Chester at center. And you're seeing a lot of Bo Bordelon at right guard. That's generally speaking what we've seen a lot of. Now, Cohen Eccles has played some right guard. He did today. Cohen Eccles has played some left tackle with the twos. Braylon Moore has subbed in at center. There are some moving pieces, but a lot of the time that we have seen has been from left to right. Tyree Adams, Paul Mabenga, DJ Chester, then Bo Bordelon or Cohen Eccles, and then Weston Davis. That's a lot of what we've seen. And to me, it's a little bit surprising to have seen DJ Chester working at center as much as we have seen him at center. We all just kind of assumed Braylon Moore would plug right in, and he's more so running with the twos. He spent some time with the ones today, more so with the twos. Now, Brian Kelly told us back 2 weeks ago, like, don't look too much at the rotations. We're going to cycle a lot of guys in there. But I'm just telling you, I've been to 3 practices now. Our staff has been to 4 practices now, and you're not seeing that much of a shuffle at offensive line. Some, not a lot. So that is interesting. You move back a level to the quarterback spot, and I thought Garrett Nussmeier today was excellent. I thought he was really, really good. Commanded the offense, completed a lot of short passes. His favorite target today in the 7-on-7 and the 11-on-11 that we saw was Trey'Dez Green. I saw Trey'Dez Green make an incredible catch down the left sideline, down near the end zone. Probably would have been a touchdown. It was 125 yards away from me, so I couldn't tell for sure. But it looked like it was in the end zone, up over the top of a defender. It was a really nice play. He also won a one-on-one route on a crossing route that Nussmeier hit him in stride on. Those two had a really nice synergy today. They hit each other on a little 1st and 10 out route into the right flat that would have gone for 10 or 12 yards and very likely a first down. I like the way that Garrett Nussmeier was locked in with Trey'Dez Green. Also saw some good things from some of the guys on the outside. When they go with the ones, you're always seeing Chris Hilton, you're always seeing Aaron Anderson, and then you're seeing a smattering of someone else at the third slot. Today, Destin Hill was out there early and often. I found that very interesting. There were some skeptics in the media that were going, Bryce Brown, Ed Nicar's coach is here. Maybe you're giving Destin Hill a look there. It was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But Destin Hill was a really talented high school player. He just hasn't really played football over the last 4 years. But he was out there a little bit. You saw Nick Anderson come in later in the practice and run a little bit with the ones. Xavier Thomas has run a little bit with the ones as well. I thought, let me see, make sure my note is correct here. I thought, so Chris Hilton ran a really good slant route and beat Ashton Stamps over the middle. I liked that play a ton. And then there was one more that I liked offensively. Oh, Bauer Sharp ran a great double move route and got open for a touchdown catch against Austin Osbury, the safety, and I really liked that play as well. So you pair that with Trey'Dez Green and Bauer Sharp, and those two were out there a ton at the same time when they were going 11 on 11 and then 11 on 0, which was like the dry period. You're seeing a lot of LSU in 12 personnel, one back in the backfield, two tight ends. I don't know how much they're going to run that. You don't have a ton of depth at tight end. You do have Donovan Green, and you're going to have J.D. LaFleur, so you're adding to that in with Green's here, and then you're going to add to it with LaFleur here in the summer. But they were running a lot of 12 personnel, and we talked to Bauer Sharp today. He likes being on the field with Trey'Dez Green. He likes blocking a little bit, and he does like being out in space. And I thought he made some really nice plays out there. Chris Hilton had a great catch that we saw earlier today as well. I once again am encouraged by seeing him. But at this point, like, the story with Chris Hilton is not like, what can he do? We know what he can do. We know he's super fast. We know he can make plays down the field. We know he's improved as a route runner since he got here 4 years ago. But we don't know if he's going to be on the field. And that's not his fault. But at this point, it would be disingenuous for me not to bring that up when we talk about Chris Hilton on the practice field. I'm pulling for the guy. I believe in the guy. I think he can have a huge year. But you haven't seen that the first 4 years because of injury. The name I did not mention there, and that was a mistake I was thinking about in my head, Barry and Brown was also out there with the ones at times, and that's a guy who we talked to today in media breakout sessions. I asked him who the fastest 3 wide receivers were on the team. He said him first, then Chris Hilton, and then he went with Xavier Thomas. Now, I feel like he's got to give a hat tip to Jelani Watkins at some point. The guy runs track and might run in the Olympics one day, and I think is probably pretty clearly the fastest guy on the team. But Jelani's got some track obligations, and maybe he hasn't gotten to know him as well because Barry and Brown just got here. But I feel like the LSU passing game today was very good. There was one interception on a ball that was intended for Chris Hilton over the middle. It got tipped twice, and it was picked off by Austin Osbury. But overall, watching the 7-on-7, watching the 11-on-11, I came away very impressed with LSU's wide receivers and the quarterback. I thought he hit some deep balls, looked really good doing that. I thought he was great working around the line of scrimmage. And that's what you would expect from Garrett Nussmeier. You would expect him to be in complete control. I've mentioned this a few times over the years with Nussmeier, and to me, it still rings true. I have vivid memories of watching a freshman Garrett Nussmeier in his first spring just running all over the field like a 5-year-old, like dapping everybody on the head, screaming, yelling, waving his arms, just like absolute endless energy from this guy. And there's still a little bit of that in there. He made a great touchdown throw today and ran and did a jumping back tap with Destin Hill. You see some of that in him. But more so, it's a guy that's just kind of in control and in command. He's verbal. He's vocal. But he's a little bit more subdued than the guy that we saw going nuts. But at no point has he been more efficient than he is right now. And I think that what has stood out to me in a little bit of the 11-on-11 and the 7-on-7 that we've gotten to watch is that he's really good. Now, the counterpoint to that, and the other thing we have to consider when you're talking about Garrett Nussmeier, is last year he was given a lot of time to throw the ball by some NFL offensive linemen. And we don't know that piece to the equation yet. Garrett's never going to be an elite mobility guy. He's a good athlete. He's never going to be what Jaden Daniels is back there. And I don't think he's as mobile and aware and competent in the pocket with his movements as Joe Burrow was. Now, those are Heisman Trophy winners. I get it. But is he going to be under a little bit more pressure this year? Is he going to have to speed up that mental clock a little bit more this year? Now, he was as fast as anybody in the country, and there's a metric for this. This is not just me saying this. There's actual metrics on how quickly quarterbacks get the ball out of their hand, and Garrett Nussmeier ranked among the best in college football in getting the ball out of his hand last year. So that's already a strength of his game, but it's going to have to continue to be that, and it's going to have to get even better because I think there are going to be times where this LSU offense struggles to keep him as upright as the one did last year. And that's the piece that we don't get any look at in the spring because he's got a no contact on and they're not going to hit him. And there were multiple plays today where he probably made a throw down the field that he would not have been allowed to make because he probably would have been sacked or hit really hard today. But he wasn't because he's got the no contact on. And that's the piece that you have to kind of consider as you're watching practice and you're charting things and you're looking at the plays that the offense is making. You also have to consider, hey, this is a guy that can't get hit, and you're a little bit concerned about the offensive line. If Will Campbell and Emory Jones and Miles Frazier and Garrett Dellinger were coming back, and you added Braylon Moore to this mix, and I wouldn't really consider that part of the thing because I go, well, he's going to get good pass protection all year, which he did last year. But that's a question mark. Not a massive concern, not a huge red flag, just something we'll have to evaluate when the actual lights come on in Clemson, South Carolina, coming up on Labor Day weekend. But today, I thought a really nice day for LSU's passing game. But I'll say this, and this is coming from someone who has been very, very critical of the LSU defensive backs in fall camp the last 2 years. I mean, to the point where it was on Instagram, got all the clicks and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm well aware of the things that I said. Like, and I say that today the LSU passing game had a good day. I think I'm seeing some things from the DBs that I like in this spring, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in hour number 2. Got a chance to visit with Mansour Delane earlier today, and we've got some sound that we'll play from him, specifically about DJ Pickett and what he's seen from the young freshman. So we'll get to a little bit of that as we move along. That's our Genesis opening drive here on this Tuesday. Do want to remind you, sports trivia tonight at Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. If you're looking to hang out, we might have some NCAA basketball, the tournament on the TVs. They got great pizza there. They got wings, fantastic drink selection, including cold beers. You can win some gift cards to Pizza by Roan and play some sports trivia today. We took last week off because I had a brand new kid that was 2 days old, so we decided going to take last week off. We're back in action tonight at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. Come on out and win some gift cards, play some sports trivia at Pizza by Roan's. When we come back, I wanted to do this yesterday. I didn't have time. I watched a ton of SEC baseball over the weekend with a infant at the house that didn't allow us to leave very much. And I've got some takes. We're not going to do power rankings. That'll be tomorrow. But I've got some things that I saw over the weekend watching more SEC baseball than you probably did as the listener, which is to be expected. But I got some takes. We'll get to those next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, just some general thoughts on SEC baseball. I took y'all's temperature on this 2 years ago when LSU was preseason number 1 with the 23 team that we all know how that story ended. And I feel like the feedback that I get via Twitter, and this could be wrong, tell me in the Bayou Ford chat if it is wrong, I feel like y'all are a little bit more eager to wade into the SEC baseball waters when the basketball team is doing what it did 2 years ago and did what it did this year. I'm fully aware sitting here that there are not a lot of you listening that are going to turn on the Alabama-Texas A&M baseball game on a Saturday afternoon. I don't think that's something that I think you're going to turn on that football game, and I think you're more likely to watch a little bit of the basketball game. Baseball, you got to go find it on the stream. I feel like in that sense that I'm watching more than you, when in football I think I'm watching less than you, honestly, because of my work obligations. But in baseball, I feel like I can actually share some information that you might not know, because you may have a sense of what's happened over the weekend, but I'm watching more than most of the listenership at this point. So just some big picture things that I caught up over the weekend. Tennessee swept Florida in Knoxville, and it looks a little bit worse than it probably was. At the same time, Tennessee was much better than Florida. Here's what I mean by that. The Saturday game was a run rule. Tennessee won 10-0. And you look at that and you go, well, that's just a beatdown. And it is. I mean, 10-0. but it was 1-0 at the 7th inning stretch. Tennessee scored 9 runs in the bottom of the 7th, including a walk-off 3-run homer to make it 10-0. So that game, that's a competitive game. It's 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th, but Tennessee goes nuts offensively. I thought that the two Liams, Doyle and Peterson, competed. I thought the offenses were ready for them. I thought they drove pitch counts up and you had to get into the bullpen. But Tennessee proved it could pitch because Tennessee held Florida down for the majority of that 3-game set. And that's impressive in that ballpark against a lineup that hits a ton of home runs. So Tennessee's legit, y'all. I don't know what to tell you. I know there aren't a lot of people here that like Tennessee. They're 20-0, and they just swept Florida. It's a good baseball team. Speaking of sweeps, Alabama goes to College Station and wins all 3 games. And I'm listening to Highway to Hoover yesterday. We'll have Joe Healy on Thursday. I'm going to try to have Mark Etheridge on Friday because he's going to go to the LSU-Texas game on Friday as part of this whole tour of the Southeast he's doing. But Joe Healy said this on Highway to Hoover. This is a guy who covers the SEC, who does an incredible job of covering the SEC, but is not quick to be overly critical. He's fair, not quick to be overly critical. He said on the podcast they recorded Sunday evening, Texas A&M stinks. That's what he said. You've heard him on my show for 3 years. Have you ever heard him say that about a team? And I don't know how you could counter that. Texas A&M faced Alabama in its home ballpark, backs against the wall. In 3 games, they got 3 extra base hits. 3 games, 3 extra base hits. Laviolette still hitting under 250. Nobody else in that lineup is picking up any slack. It's a wasteland of offense. They faced Bama's Sunday starter, who hasn't been great this year. Texas A&M did not score a run on Sunday. 2-0, they lose. Now, to A&M's credit, which is minuscule at this point, their 3 starting pitchers did a pretty good job, but they scored no runs on Sunday. It's shocking. What LSU did for the first 15 games last year was shocking. This is even more so because A&M is not beating non-conference teams, and then they got dusted on their home field over the weekend. I'm stunned that Bama went in there and swept them. Stunned. Couple of great rubber games on Sunday. Auburn hits a grand slam in the 8th inning to steal Game 3 of that series against Vanderbilt. By the way, Sam Dutton on Friday for Auburn threw the ball really well against a Vanderbilt team that's not great, but solid. He got into the 7th inning, throwing that breaking ball. I watched the highlights of that game, and he looked good. I don't know that I would fully trust him to be an SEC number 1. We've seen a lot of Sam Dutton over the last 3 years, but he pitched the ball great on Friday, and Auburn comes back, gets that grand slam, and wins a crazy rubber game. Speaking of crazy rubber games, Ole Miss wins Game 1 against Arkansas, just knocks Zach Root all over the place. Arkansas made a rotation change. Gabe Gackel's been their Friday night guy. They went to Zach Root instead. Ole Miss was a laser show of Root and won that game. Then they come back, and Arkansas beats them, hits back-to-back-to-back homers on Saturday, and I think hit 5 total and won that game. And then Sunday, Ole Miss has the lead and 2 outs in the 9th. They surrender the lead, base hit, then a homer by one of the Eloy brothers, Wahiba in this case, and Arkansas, who was down to their last out, wins the rubber game in Oxford. Couple things. Arkansas is hitting the baseball. They're hitting home runs. They're hitting doubles. Their pitching is generally really good. Arkansas looks pretty good to me right now. And Ole Miss, while that's a gut-wrenching loss on Sunday to lose that game, they played with the number 3 team in the country for 3 days. Kicked their butt on Friday and had them within 1 out on Sunday of winning the series. I think that's fairly encouraging for Ole Miss. Now, you got to go pay it off. They're going to Columbia, Missouri this weekend, Ole Miss is. They need to at least get 2 there. Need 2 bad. But I think fairly encouraging for them. Mississippi State gets swept at Dudy Noble by Texas. We'll talk about Texas a lot later this week because, of course, LSU goes to Austin. But Mississippi State now, you look at what they've done, and they've played some quality teams South Alabama, Troy in the midweek, go to the Houston tournament, play 2 good opponents, then you play Tech. They're losing every game. Every time they step up in class, they lose. The only game they won in that Houston tournament was against Rice, who's already fired their coach. So, and that's right, they fired their coach before March. So, it's trouble in Starkville right now. They got to figure something out. And for those that aren't aware, Texas and Mississippi State played this weekend. That's LSU's next 2 weekends. You got at Texas, Mississippi State comes to the box. So you got a Texas team that lost the opener of the season and has won 17 in a row. That's who LSU will play on Friday. And then you've got a Mississippi State team that can't get on the winning side of things coming up in the following weekend, and that'll be at the box. Oklahoma and South Carolina. One thing that is abundantly clear about Oklahoma at this point, and LSU will go to Norman here in a few weeks, Kyson Witherspoon is their Friday guy. He is a top 3 Friday guy in the league for me right now. He and Liam Doyle and Liam Peterson are probably my top 3 right now. And then there's a group like right behind them. The Kate Anderson's in that group. I would suggest that Ryan Prager's in that group. But I mean, you look at Friday dudes, and Oklahoma has one. Now they don't have much. Kyson's brother goes on Saturdays and isn't as good. And then Cam Johnson was sick this week. Y'all are well aware of who Cam Johnson is. He was sick all week. They tried to send him out there. He walked the first guy he saw on 4 pitches. He hit the next guy. They took him out. He faced 2 batters, issued 2 free bases. They took him out. He was sick, and so he'll probably pitch again this weekend. But Oklahoma, I don't think, is a great team. They are 17-2. They did go to South Carolina and win the series. However, when I watch them play, I don't see a ton of talent, except for their Friday night pitcher is excellent. So that's absolutely something to look at for Oklahoma. And then some of the teams that I haven't mentioned as much. Vanderbilt, I talked about Auburn. It just doesn't look like the Tim Corbin teams. And I asked Joe Healy that exact question last week before we got into SEC play. I said, Vanderbilt, it just doesn't have the dudes they once had. And Joe Healy just looked and was like, yeah, that's correct. And you watch them play Auburn, and that's abundantly clear. Like, they always had a top 20 pick that fronted their rotation. Always. Rocker, Leiter. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Walker Buehler, and you got David Price going back even further. I mean, there's a ton of Vanderbilt guys, Tyler Beatty, that have been dudes, and they just don't have that. They don't have Dansby Swanson. They don't have Pedro Alvarez. They don't have J.J. Blade. They've just been a factory of early round picks. And you look at this Vanderbilt team, and it's just not quite there. And so they go to Auburn, and yeah, they could have won that series. But now you look at them, Vanderbilt's 15-5. They played a tougher schedule, but they've already got 5 losses. So, and 2 of them came over the weekend against Auburn, one in heartbreaking fashion. So just not quite what they have been. There's still a ton of baseball to be played. I mentioned this on Friday, that like every single weekend you're going to have probably 5 really good matchups, if not 6 or 7. I could argue that there were 7 this past weekend if you take LSU and Missouri out. That technically should be a team toward the top and a team at the bottom. Everything else looks pretty good, and that's generally what you're going to get. I think there are some teams that are going to fade. I could see a case where South Carolina fades. I could see a case where Mississippi State fades. I could see a case where Kentucky fades, quite frankly. They went 1-2 over the weekend in Georgia. So the whole thing fascinates me. It's so different than the regional, super regionals in Omaha because the losses aren't as penal. It's just a long marathon where you just always got to get right back on the horse. LSU finds itself in a really good position right now at 3-0. We'll see what they can do over the next couple of weeks. Keep in mind that LSU's toughest stretch, where they've got Tennessee, they've got Arkansas, and I still put Texas A&M on the road in that conversation today. Maybe a week and a half from now I don't do that, but today I do. Those are 3 in a row. You would like, if you're LSU, to sock away as many victories as possible before you get to that really tough stretch. We'll see if the Tigers can do that. But that's kind of a look around the Southeastern Conference, what we saw over the weekend in SEC baseball play. When we come back, we'll talk to Glenn West, talk some football and some baseball with him coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. Airline at Piku. The odds are, if you're listening to me, you have not set foot on the lot or inside the dealership at Genesis of Baton Rouge. I would highly, highly recommend that you make an effort to get on by. The facility is first class. It's state of the art. It's incredibly clean. It's an incredible staff. It's welcoming. The Wi-Fi is great. It's a good place to sit and get some things done if you want to hang out while your car is being serviced. Got a phenomenal coffee set up with this huge coffee maker that can make them all. They've got great snacks as well, and it's a spot you can hang out. But if you don't have time for that, a lot of people don't love to do it. Well, you can do the valet maintenance if you're a Genesis driver. 3 years, complimentary. They'll come to you, get your car, take it back, service it with the oil change, wiper blades, air filter, whatever the case needs to be done, and drive it right back to you. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. If you're in the market for a vehicle, you're probably going to spend some time on Airline Highway. That's where a lot of the dealerships are. Make one more stop at Genesis of Baton Rouge, right there, Airline and Pico, across from Women's Hospital. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hope your work week's off to a good start. Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Spent a lot of time up at LSU earlier today watching 2 hours of football practice, doing some player interviews as well. I got a story up on Jack Pyburn, LSU defensive end, edge rusher, that you can read at LouisianaSports.net right now. And I got a feeling you may see some quotes from Jack Pyburn from our next guest, Glenn West, senior writer over at Go 24/7. He was there chatting with those players as well. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how are you?
Beat me to it, Hunt. I got mine up about 2 minutes ago. So
I think let's see when
bunch of quotes from all four guys.
Exactly. Ours came up. Yeah, that was about 2 minutes ago. So I think you probably just clipped us there. But it's up. So look, LSU football practice today. We got a chance to watch for a couple hours. Got a chance to see some 11 on 11. I'll leave it kind of open ended. Was there one note in your notebook that stood out more so than some others?
Nothing really deep or in particular. I mean, I thought it was interesting that Cohen Eccles got some run at right guard. I mean, he was pretty much the starting right guard on the first team for the most of this practice today. I thought that the defensive backs held up pretty well for the most part in those 11 on 11 periods in particular. I think that last 11 on 11 period that LSU had, you could make the argument that the defense won. They held the offense in check pretty well there on that one series, but nothing major. I think probably the biggest thing I took away from the day was just talking to those transfers after practice. I mean, I really liked the demeanor, the mindset, a lot of the things that they had to say. You mentioned Jack Pyburn there. I mean, he was a great guy to talk to there for about 10 minutes. And, you get the sense, though, that this is like a workmanship kind of mentality that a lot of these guys have. And, Pyburn, Monsur Delane, which we learned today, it's Monsur, not Mansur. So those guys just have the right kind of way about doing things, and I just really liked kind of getting to meet them and know them a little bit more, because obviously those are guys that are going to play huge roles on this defense that you're hoping that can kind of take it a notch up, a couple notches up here in 2025.
It's interesting talking to them because they sound like veterans who have signed in free agency as opposed to freshmen. Like, they sound like guys who know who they are, know what college football's about, want to test themselves against the best, want to fit in. Like, it was a different vibe than what you get from really young players, even though it was the first time we got a chance to talk to them. Do you think that's a positive for the culture? Do you think that can become a challenge? Like, what was your read on it?
Yeah, I think it's a positive. I mean, look, the last conversation we got a chance to have was with Delane there, and one of the things that we asked him, or I should say you asked him actually, was his favorite aspect of playing cornerback, and he says he likes it when it's 3rd and 4 and he's on the boundary side in a single high coverage with the receiver, just him on man-to-man defense, and knowing that it's all on him to make that play, to get off the field, and that's the kind of mentality that I think LSU really needs with this defense. They need some veterans out there who aren't afraid, to be aggressive and to get off the field. So I think he's somebody that I just kind of getting to talk with him even just for a few minutes today, that is going to not be afraid to make mistakes. And I think having the experience that guys like him and Pyburn have is only going to make this defense better for having gone through what they've gone through as veterans in college football. So and performed at the level that they have. So that to me was just a couple of things that stood out. Just Pyburn talked a lot about how he's not ready, or he's ready to not be the story of being counted out or having to prove people wrong, that kind of thing. Like, he's here to make a difference. He's here to help get this team to where they want to go, which is the college football playoff and competing for a national championship.
If you had asked me 3 weeks ago who's the transfer that's most likely to start, I probably would have said Braylon Moore. And we look out there, and DJ Chester's taking the vast majority of the reps as the first team center. What have you made of that?
Yeah, very interesting. Like, I think that Chester, it's a credit to him more than anything that he's not given that spot up. And I think it was Wilson Alexander who sat down with Coach Kelly before the spring really started, and Kelly said that Chester was probably going to be playing guard and center. So, like, there's still some time here left in the spring for that to happen, and for more to kind of. But I think it's more on I think to me, at least, it's more on Chester and the way that he's been able to develop as a player, as opposed to Braylon Moore not being what they thought he was or anything like that. So, we're still very early into this thing. We're 6 practices into a 15 practice spring, and like I said, we saw some changes today on the offensive line with guys like Cohen Eccles going in there at right guard, and so I think there's still a lot of time for this thing to kind of sort out. But if Chester is starting to develop the way that LSU hoped he would maybe last year. That is a really positive sign here early in the spring camp.
Our audience turns over every 15 or 20 minutes, so I'm going to talk about this in 40 minutes from right now. I don't feel bad kind of spoiling it with you here because you were standing right next to me, but can you characterize Mansour Delane's reaction when we asked him about DJ Pickett and what you thought about that answer?
Yeah, he gave the 5-star plus approval to DJ Pickett. So yeah, look, Pickett. I mean, you just watch him with the way that he moves, the way that he's able to. I mean, he had another couple pass breakups today and one-on-ones, which for defensive backs, it's extremely hard to stay with wide receivers in those one-on-one drills. And Pickett early here is showing that he can be a guy that is going to be able to keep up with the best of them. And he wasn't going up against third teamers either. He was neck and neck with Barry and Brown on one rep today, and he's been in one-on-one coverage with Chris Hilton before. So he's the real deal. I mean, he looks the part, and it's just a matter of time before he's in that first team, in my opinion. He's been pretty consistently with the twos when they've gone 11 on 11 or 7 on 7, but I think that's going to change here very quickly if he continues to have the kind of practices that at least we've seen to this point. We've been privy to a couple 20-minute sessions and now the full practice today, but he's looked really, really good in everything that I've seen so far this spring.
Glenn West is our guest. You're looking for LSU team coverage, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever the case may be. Glenn's all over it there at Go 24/7. Let's talk some baseball now, Glenn. LSU gets off on the right foot. I don't know if it was a work of art for every single inning over the weekend, but the sum of the innings was exactly what you're looking for in a sweep. Would you take that as an overwhelming positive, or was there something negative that jumped out to you?
No, nothing supremely negative that I'm overly worried about right now with this team. I mean, the offense has been averaging close to 11 runs a game since they lost that Omaha game, in week 2 of the season. That feels like a light years ago at this point. With the way that the offense has just been swinging the bats with the consistency they've been showing so far. I know probably most people are curious about the pitching staff and just the 20 free passes they had over the 3-game stretch there. I'm not overly worried about that right now. Like, I think you're still figuring out the best situations for guys to pitch in. Sure, you absolutely need Anthony Ianson and Chase Shores to go more than 3 2/3 innings. Like that's not a sustainable method of winning in the SEC when 2 of your starters can't get into the 4th or 5th innings there. But I do think that they have, for every negative you want to throw about the weekend, I think there's a even greater positive, which is guys like Zach Cohen or Zach Cowan and Kason Evans and what he was able to do. I thought, after a really kind of rough outing and a half there, Connor Ware put together back-to-back really good outings out of the bullpen this weekend and gave you some zeros. So Cade Anderson continues to look like a really composed Friday night guy that is going to be able to help you get off to really great starts this weekend. So I think that they have some things still to figure out. Sure, there's some development and some growth that still needs to happen along the staff, but no reason to be overly panicked at this point, in my opinion.
Where are you on Ianson? I think he's been the most hot topic pitcher on the staff. I don't know how your message boards have reacted, but that's certainly where my Twitter feed is. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, his fastball is not overly powering. It's not going to get to 95, 96, 97. It's going to kind of hang in that 91 to 93 range. And so if that's going to happen, he's going to need to do 2 things. He's going to need to locate his pitches, and he's going to have a really, really consistent breaking ball to go along with it. And I think his breaking ball has been a little bit up and down, but if you watch it on TV, I mean, that thing just dips. I mean, it gets halfway to the plate and it just dies. And so figuring out where he needs to place that pitch, I believe it's a curveball, just watching it and the way that it moves. But he has a really, really good movement on that. And I think it's just finding some consistency with those secondary pitches, which you could honestly say is the same thing that you need to see out of Chase Shores. And he throws, a little bit harder, but he needs to locate that slider so teams aren't chasing the fastball. So I'm not overly concerned with Ianson. I mean, the guy's still leading the team in strikeouts because he had that 115 marvelous game, 15 strikeout game a couple weeks ago. But I'm still very high on this. And my whole thing is like, if you're going to think about replacing Ianson, who are you replacing him with? I mean, I don't want to take Cohen out of the bullpen. I don't want to take Evans out of the bullpen. Maybe William Schmidt can get there, but he just really had a struggling kind of one outing over the weekend by issuing the 3 free passes. So you're still waiting for him to kind of get it together and get his career on the right track here, and he's going to be a really great pitcher for LSU. So I'm still not out on Ianson or anything like that. I think he's the guy that LSU is going to roll with for the foreseeable future, at least.
LSU and UNO tonight at 6:30 from the box. LSU travels to Texas for a big-time showdown at Dish Falk Field over the weekend. Looking for coverage, Glenn West has got you covered over there at Go 24/7. He's with us on Tuesdays. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
Come back and close out hour number 1. We got a lot to do in hour number 2, getting you ready for LSU and UNO as DBU on the way back. Sharif Ishak on the Saints defense. All that coming up later after we close out hour number 1.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, avssla.com is that website. Look, it is outdoor season in Baton Rouge. The weather has been fantastic this week. It's going to be pool season soon. I know a lot of folks love to listen to some LSU baseball out by the pool, maybe watch some baseball outside on an outdoor television. If you're looking to get all of that done in your outdoor area, whether you've got the pool, or maybe you got a pool house, maybe you've got a deck, maybe it's just a back patio where you want to hang out. You can do all of that at Audio Video Security Solutions. They can supply the equipment, televisions, speakers, wiring, and get you all set up, and all of it can be controlled right there at the touch of a button on your phone. It's the way we've got it set up at the Palmer House, and we've just been thrilled with it since they installed it just about a year ago. It's Mitchell Fisher and the team at Audio Video Security Solutions. Find them online at avssla.com. It's avssla.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111 your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Closing of hour one here, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Tonight, sports trivia, 8 o'clock. Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. You're watching some hoops, winning some gift cards, eating some pizza, drinking some cold beers. Wings are available as well. It's a great spot, and we've kind of carved out a new niche over there at Pizza by Roan's. We appreciate them for having us, and appreciate those of you that come out for sports trivia. It's always been a ton of fun. So we'll be out there tonight, 8 o'clock at Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. So I popped out of bed this morning, just fired up to get into the living room, crank up the TV, and get the Cubs season off and running. And then it put me in a really bad mood because the Cubs just stunk it up today, pre-7 a.m. That's even a tougher loss. When you wake up at 4:50 to watch and they get 3 hits and make 2 errors and get punked by the JV squad of the Dodgers. And that's what happened this morning, Beck.
It wasn't the JV squad, Hunt.
It certainly was.
Is Shohei Ohtani in the JV squad?
Yes, he's on the JV squad.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on the JV squad?
Half of him was on the JV squad, yes. They pulled him out after 60 pitches.
69.
69 pitches. Nice.
It's early in the season. They're getting stretched out. I mean,
I know exactly what happened, but they're not going to. You get a huge break because you're playing the best team probably ever assembled, quite frankly. And they're without 2 MVPs. Mookie Betts didn't play. Freddie Freeman didn't play. Mookie's sick. I don't know what's going on with Freddie. They didn't play. So 2 of their MVPs sat down, and their ace, who's among the best pitchers in baseball, wasn't allowed to pitch very much. And the Cubs couldn't get a hit.
They got 3 hits.
They didn't get a single hit off the bullpen or walk. They were retired in order. It was like Keller up there trying to hit.
I don't feel good about Matt Shaw playing third base.
Yeah, you're on that. He threw 1 ball away. But you're letting your biases dictate how you're watching the game.
Well, let me say this. He didn't play third base in the minors.
That's true.
And he's playing
Alex Bregman played third base for like 5 minutes in the minors.
Okay. I think this is a little different.
If you can play shortstop, you can play third base.
All right, we'll see.
Should I wake up and do it again tomorrow?
I wouldn't.
Well, that's unacceptable. I'm going to definitely do it.
Okay. Well, you asked.
The kiddo has got to eat at 6 anyway. Game's at 5:10. You pop up, you watch. But that was so deflating. I was looking at this, I was going, this is such a huge break they're catching here because the Dodgers, 2 guys are down. That's the first thing I saw on Twitter this morning. I saw Jesse Rogers tweet out they've scratched Freddie Freeman. Well, that's huge. And the Cubs just couldn't even make contact.
Yeah, and guess what happens tomorrow when they play the Dodgers?
I know that Steele pitches for us. Who's going for them?
Roki Sasaki.
He's not that good.
Yeah, he's not that good. Yeah.
The deal is, though, this is what's interesting about this stupid little 2-game series they do in the middle of spring training, which is dumb, by the way. The Dodgers can throw like Blake Snell out of the bullpen if they want because you don't play again for 3 weeks. There's a give and take with this 2-game series that they're going to play where you can use your starting pitchers out of the bullpen, and the Cubs and Dodgers, more so than everybody else in Major League Baseball, the first 4 games they play of the season, they can use their best 2 pitchers to start. No one else gets that luxury in baseball. The Cubs and Dodgers do. Do you like the Japan series? Do you think they should be playing games in Japan at 5 o'clock in the morning?
I like it. I think it's cool. I know that it's obviously not great for us because we have to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch it, but Japan is the second biggest baseball country besides the U.S. in terms of fandom. People in Japan love baseball, and there's they have so many guys playing in the league now, obviously with the best player in the league. So I think it's good for the sport.
I hate it.
Of course you do. I'm not shocked by that at all.
Don't need the NFL in Berlin. Don't need the NFL in Mexico City.
This is not comparable.
Aren't they going to South America this year? Is that happening?
Yes.
Where do they play, in Brazil?
They played in Brazil last year.
Did they?
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
This is not comparable, Hunt, at all.
Why?
Because none of those countries they go play at, the NFL, none of those countries have a presence in the sport, and there's
When's the NBA going over there?
You're not letting me finish my point, okay? Nobody in the other countries care about the NFL. They don't have football. They don't play football in those countries, really. Japan they are baseball crazy, and they have multiple players in the league who are some of the best players in the league already. So it makes sense that they're going to go play games there, so the fans can see.
It's March 18th.
Who cares?
We're playing regular season games March 18th. Cubs weren't ready to play. I can use it as an excuse. They need more spring training. They can't catch a ground ball, can't throw it to first, can't get a hit.
All right.
They need the full 6 weeks of spring training.
Yes.
4 is not enough.
Okay, so we need more preseason games. Is that what
more
we need?
preseason games.
Okay.
We need to spend more time in Mesa because none of those games count.
Yes. Sounds
Cubs
good.
didn't they win like their first 11 spring training games?
Yeah, they went like 9-0.
That's great. We're about to start 0-2. But I will be up tomorrow at 4:50, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, watching Justin Steele lock in. The pride of Loosedale, Mississippi will be on the bump tomorrow morning, and I'll be watching. And if they lose again, I'll be cranky again in the morning. That's enough of that. Pause for Sports Center. When we come back, let's talk about DBU. Mansour Delane talked about DJ Pickett. You'll want to hear it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Baton Rouge is home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Warriors considering potentially resting Steph Curry against the Bucks tonight in the second half of a back-to-back, according to Coach Steve Kerr. In last night's loss to Denver, Curry had 7 turnovers. He missed 10 of his 14 three-point attempts. He said the issue is a lower back strain he's been dealing with and that he's not tired. First Take host, Stephen A. Smith.
How much can one individual take? He makes his money, shooting the basketball, getting open enough to shoot the basketball, creating space for himself, moving around without the basketball, out conditioning everybody. And when you put that kind of load on him, where he's the guy you're constantly looking for, he's only human.
Warriors are currently 6th in the NBA's Western Conference. NFL Steelers defensive captain Cam Hayward said on his Not Just Football podcast he's not going to great lengths to recruit quarterback Aaron Rodgers. His pitch, either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. He added he's tired of talking about the quarterback situation. Pittsburgh is still waiting for Rodgers as he weighs his options. The team did recently bring back quarterback Mason Rudolph.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, everyone constantly blames Mike Tomlin for all the Steelers' issues. I'll tell you why we're focusing on the wrong Steelers employee. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hope your work week is off to a good start. Had a good first hour today. Talked a little bit of LSU football, top of things. Talked some SEC baseball. Hit baseball and football with Glenn West, and then I complained about the Cubs. But we'll get things back on the rails here in hour number 2. LSU and UNO will go at it at the box tonight at 6:30. I'll preview that in 15 minutes, and Sharif Ishak talking Saints in 30 minutes from right now. I want to get back to LSU football and talk about some of the things that we saw out on the practice field. I was just going through my Instagram reels, and the video of me saying that LSU had a significant issue covering folks, I got 171,000 views in terms of reels. That's been something that I've talked about for 2 years straight now, that I didn't feel like LSU had the talent and the ability to cover in the secondary. And I get a lot of things really wrong. I don't know that I've gotten this really wrong. I don't think LSU has covered good enough over the last 2 years. And that's got to change. You cannot win if you can't defend the pass in this era of college football. It was crazy because I watched LSU play USC and watched LSU play against South Carolina and saw some of those early season games. And then Ole Miss came to Tiger Stadium. And though LSU did win that game and did enough to get it done, I was struck by how well Ole Miss was able to cover in that game until the very end when Nussmeier went down the field and won it. And I think Ole Miss was good enough to be a playoff team last year. Now, they choked on a chicken bone against Kentucky and couldn't beat Florida. But coverage is a big, big deal. And when LSU's had great teams, they've had great DBs. That's not telling you anything you don't already know. So there's got to be an overhaul. And LSU has gone to the transfer portal ranks, and they got Mansour Delane, and they got Jakeem Jackson, and they go to the high school ranks and get DJ Pickett, and you retain Ashton Stamps, and PJ Woodland grows up a year, and you've got Tamarcus Cooley who's come in, and you feel like you've added some talent, and now it's about putting it all together. And when I watched out at practice today, I saw some guys making some plays on the football. I watched PJ Woodland make a really nice breakup on a ball down the left sideline. I watched 2 different times DJ Pickett make plays on the ball, including against a streaking Berrien Brown. I looked at the starting secondary, and more often than not, Ashton Stamps and Mansour Delane are out there on the boundaries. Tamarcus Cooley's out there playing at a safety spot. Deshaun Spears is a reserve, a second team as a safety, but a guy that's got a lot of talent. DJ Pickett's running with the 2s. Jakeem Jackson's running with the 2s. But it's going to be a collective effort, and they've got to find a little bit more productivity than they've had previously at that spot. And Mansour Delane figures to be a huge part of that. Now, he's done a lot over his time at Virginia Tech. He's played some safety. He's played some nickel. He's played some boundary corner. And when they got him, I kind of looked at his role in the secondary as not immediately this is where he goes, more so of, okay, let's see what else they add, and then that'll probably dictate where he plays. And when they brought in Tamarcus Cooley, who's very likely a safety and a nickel piece for him, I think that more so moved Mansour Delane out to corner, and that's where I think you're going to see him a good bit. We talked to Mansour Delane today, and if you were listening 15 minutes ago when I was chatting with Glenn West, you would have heard me say, like, talking to the transfers we talked to today, talking to Jack Pyburn, talking to Bauer Sharp, talking with Mansour Delane, talking to Berrien Brown, it sounded like veterans that had been brought over in free agency at the professional level. And for some of you, you'll be cynical about that and be like, oh, that's exactly what it is. They got a huge NIL chest, and that's why they're here, and they're mercenary, and they'll be gone after 8 months. And that's fine. I'm just telling you what the interaction was like. And it was some mature guys who have been through some grinds at different levels and have different things to prove, but that said all the right things today and really feel like they're assimilating pretty well into this LSU football culture. We'll play some sound here from Mansour Delane, who talked about being a part of this whole defensive back group and how they're trying to make each other better.
C-Ray's big on, like, everybody's going to eat. Like, everybody's going to do good. So, like I said, I think we all just push each other and really just – there's a lot of competition. So it's like, at the end of the day, we compete with ourselves, but we compete with each other too, but it makes everyone better at the end of the day. So there's no spots. There's no, like, you just started. One day you could be a 4, one day you could be a 1. So really just going out there being the best version of yourself every day.
That's true. Like, they're moving guys up and down rotation and depth chart in the secondary, and you've seen that. But when you go out there and you're in one-on-ones, like, there is no first, second, or third team. It's just next man up and go. And you're seeing a lot of different guys stand out. I mean, today, like, Michael Turner made some plays today. Now, Michael Turner weighs 160 pounds. Like, he's still tiny out there. But he made some plays on the football today, as did a lot of guys. And that was really encouraging for me to see. Like, I'm looking for LSU's DBs to pop a little bit in practice. I realize when we're out there that almost everything that those guys do is geared toward the offense. The red zone drills, the 7-on-7, the one-on-ones, those are geared towards the offense. In one-on-ones, covered, like, you don't have any help. You don't have a safety. You can't play any leverage towards the field. You don't have any help. You got to cover the entire field. That's hard to do. In 7-on-7, you don't have a pass rush. So you got to just go cover. And you can't force a quick throw or flush the quarterback out and cut the field in half. Like, it's tougher on defense to not have a pass rush. Like, y'all know all this kind of stuff. But that's part of what makes the offense hum in practice, and at times can be something that clouds our judgment as those who are there and kind of reporting the facts back. But still, I'd like to see the guys make some plays on the ball. And DJ Pickett made some plays on the ball today in practice. Berrien Brown, as I mentioned, was going on a 9 route, on a go route, and DJ Pickett ran stride for stride with him and made a play on it. It was a fantastic effort. And we asked Mansour Delane today what he thought about DJ Pickett. And before we played the sound, I want to kind of relay what his body language did. His eyes got kind of big, and he kind of sat up when he talked about it. And like you can hear it in his voice a little bit. He enjoyed, as a senior, talking about a guy who's been on a college campus for less than 3 months, and he feels like could be a star. So this is Mansour Delane on DJ Pickett.
DJ, I don't want to put too much out there, but he can. He's definitely whatever that 5-star plus stuff is. That's true. So, you know what I'm saying? So he's definitely a freak of nature when it comes to size and athletic ability. And everything else is gonna come down the road, but
lives up to it.
It lives up as advertised. For sure.
That's high praise from a dude that's been in college for 3 years. Okay, and when I watch DJ Pickett, and look, I'm not a scout. Okay, I'm not a football coach. I'm not a personnel evaluator, but you can do the obvious stuff out there, right? Like DJ Pickett is all of 6'4". He can run, and he can jump, and he can make plays on the ball. And all of those things are massive check marks for him. And that's what Mansour Delane is talking about right there. The one thing on the other side of the ledger here is that he is still skinny. Like, he is very thin. And LSU right now does not have a 6'4", 219-pound senior wide receiver who can out-physical him. Like, Nick Anderson is close to that kind of, but he's still not out there as much, and he's still taking some reps off. Like, I'm not saying that every team's got a guy that looks like Julio Jones or Mike Evans. Like, that's obviously, those are the freaks. Those are the potential NFL Hall of Famers that have come through the SEC. But that's something that I think could give DJ Pickett some issues with that physicality. And LSU does. Barian Brown doesn't offer that. Chris Hilton doesn't offer that. Aaron Anderson doesn't offer that. Xavier Thomas doesn't offer that. Even Kylan Billiard, who's 6'3", doesn't offer that completely. He hasn't really played. Like, LSU just doesn't have the dude who can just line up across from DJ Pickett and hit him in the face like that. And that's my concern. I don't have, and again, it's not like a big concern. I'm just showing the other side of the coin. When I talk about DJ Pickett, like, I have no concerns about his height and his range. I have no concerns about his speed. I have no concerns about his ability to play the ball. I have no concerns about his ability to put on weight and become a star. But today, right now, March 18th, his first spring on campus, I think he's thin, and I don't know how you could assess his ability to play the physicality of that position right now. Now, they're going to put weight on him. He's going to get bigger. But today, when I heard Mansour Delane and watched him talk about DJ Pickett, you saw it. You're like, oh, like, he knows this guy's going to be a star. And that's what LSU has to get back to, and quite frankly, was always going to get back to the second Corey Raymond threw that ugly blue and orange shirt in the trash can and put on the purple and gold again. Like, once that happened, you knew that the talent level was going to rise back up. And it is. Pickett's here. We'll see what the transfers they brought in can do. Aiden Anding shows up in the summer, and then you continue to fill the pipeline. And I think that Corey Raymond will do that. And I think that LSU's defensive backs have a chance to be significantly improved this year with a talent upgrade, with Corey Raymond working with them. I'm hopeful that LSU's better on the back end than they've been the last 2 seasons. If you're looking for our LSU football content, you can always find it Hunt on LSU. Wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on LSU is all football all the time, 365 days a year. So go check that out on YouTube or wherever you find your sound. Matt's got a practice report up at LouisianaSports.net right now. So if you got some time and would like to read through that, Matt goes through the reps, like what the plays were 11 on 11, like the whole thing, and it is free. I know a lot of practice reports are behind paywalls or tough to access. LouisianaSports.net, not tough to access, no paywalls. Go to the website. The practice report's right there on the top. Go check it out. Matt did a great job with that earlier this afternoon. So check that out on LouisianaSports.net. When we come back, LSU and UNO. What do I expect to see tonight at the box? I'll tell you next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Every new Genesis purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. 10 years, 100,000 miles. That's incredible. Think about that. That's the Genesis difference. When I say Genesis of Baton Rouge, think luxury. And when I think luxury, you shouldn't think, I can't afford that. You don't know until you go ask. Start the process at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Every car that's on the lot there, Airline and Pico, is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. From the sedans all the way up through the SUVs. Go check it out, see what you might like. Let one of their brand ambassadors get you behind the wheel. You'll see the difference. I'm guessing a large number of you that are listening to me right now have never gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis. Change that. See the difference. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Hunt Palmer, lover of LSU, Shreveport, and mayonnaise on hot dogs. The Hunt Palmer Show.
So I got a little bit of a surprise today. I knew that UNO lost their head coach 3 weeks before the season started. Blake Dean, who'd been there for 9 years, done a really good job, had left to go get out of baseball and get a job in, I think, the contracting world. And I knew that. And I knew that on opening day, UNO went to something called West Georgia and lost 18-3. I knew that. And that was the last I had kept up with UNO baseball. So I fully expected this morning when I wrote my game preview to look up UNO's record and see them at 2-13 and a team ERA of 20.
You're telling me you've never heard of the Wolves of West Georgia?
West Georgia Wolves, never heard of them.
Wow.
Not one time. Yeah, I mean, I've called Auburn West Georgia before, but I've never heard of West Georgia. I'm curious, look this up. How far between the campuses of West Georgia University in Carrollton and Auburn, Alabama? You look that up while I figure this out. But I bet they're pretty close because Auburn is on the state line of Georgia. But I figured they'd just be terrible based on I knew they were awful on opening day. Turns out New Orleans is 11-7 overall, and they've already won 5 league games. They're 5-4 in conference play. They swept Incarnate Word in San Antonio over the weekend. So UNO playing better than I would have anticipated, knowing that they lost 18-3 on opening day to West Georgia, as Beck, he could have made that up, says it's the Wolves. So
they are the Wolves. I looked it up.
Better team than I would have imagined.
An hour and a half from Auburn.
There you go. Perfect. I'm surprised Auburn hadn't played the Wolves a little bit more frequently. So it's been a nice go since the 18-3 beatdown for UNO, who will come to the box and play LSU's on a 15-game winning streak. I'm a little bit more concerned with LSU than I am UNO, quite frankly, but I will give one UNO privateer his flowers because Bryce Callaway has had a sensational early go this season. He's hitting .408 over 18 games with 8 home runs. He's also 6'4" and 235 pounds, so if LSU is not careful, Bryce Callaway can hurt them. That's a big dude who can clearly hit the ball a long way. I would like to steer clear of Bryce Callaway in this game. But it's really about what LSU does. And so I'm interested at third base. Braswell played all 3 games over the weekend against left-handed starters. We'll see if Reeves gets an at-bat here. And I'm curious if they want to continue to catch Luis Hernandez in every game. I'm okay with him catching 3 games against Missouri. Does he need a few days off after that to let Caden Beatty go back there and catch a little bit in this game? Or do you plan to get Aaron Beatty in there if you can get a lead in the 5th or 6th to give Hernandez the last couple of innings off? I'm just curious about that. Luis Hernandez is not going to catch 4 games a week. That's not realistic. So I'm interested to see if Aaron Beatty can get in there and get a start, or at least get half the game to allow Hernandez to rest just a little bit. Those are obviously 2 of the platoon positions. Right field is the other. Jake Brown has been phenomenal. Josh Pearson has been great, and Ethan Fry is off to a fantastic start. I don't expect to see Ashton Larson in the game, but I'm always curious how the other 3 might see time, and quite frankly, it's probably going to be dependent on what hand the pitcher throws with and what the UNO bullpen may look like in terms of availability today. I'll tell you this, that UNO has pitched a ton of dudes in their midweek game. They had a midweek game 2 weeks ago where they threw 9 pitchers. So you're not going to see anyone from UNO go out today and throw 105 pitches over 6 2/3. You're going to see UNO go to the bullpen a ton. And that basically means, I guess, that Jay Johnson can go to any starting lineup that he wants, because if you've got, hypothetically, your DH or your right fielder in the 7 hole, they could not hit until the 3rd inning, and UNO may be on their 3rd pitcher. So I don't think that Jay Johnson is going to set the lineup according to a starting pitcher. I think he's going to do it based on his feel and who he wants to give at bats to, with the understanding that you can always make a substitution, which we know that LSU will do. As far as LSU's pitching in the game tonight, I can't imagine DJ Primo's going to pitch because he pitched all 3 games over the weekend. I would be stunned if William Schmidt did not pitch. We talked about this last week, and everyone took that quote that Jay Johnson gave to Jacob and T-Bob on off the bench and said that William Schmidt's days of pitching on a Tuesday are over for the rest of his career. And I came back and said that just means he's not going to be a midweek starter. He's not going to go 65 pitches like he did earlier because they want to use him on the weekend. But we know on Saturday he came in, faced 6 hitters, walked 3 of them, gave up a homer. It was not a good go on Saturday. I think he needs to get back on the horse. I think that William Schmidt will pitch today. I would start him and throw him 2 innings in this game and certainly save a lot of his energy and bullets for the Texas Longhorns coming up this weekend. I think that there's a pretty good chance that Jaden Newt gets 6 to 8 outs in this game. He did not pitch over the weekend. Jacob Meyer did not pitch over the weekend either. So those 2 guys, I think, are likely to get the ball. And then Kason Evans did throw a season-high 44 pitches on Saturday. He's had Sunday and Monday off. That's 2 days. I think if LSU has a lead in the ninth that Kason Evans is probably going to get the baseball if it's a tight game. If it's a blowout, then that's just up to Nate Yeske, Jay Johnson, and how Kason Evans feels after Saturday's outing, whether or not they want to send him out there to, quote-unquote, keep him sharp, or whether they want to give him the week off before you go to play a really tough series in Austin. So my guess is on pitching plans, Schmidt throws 2 innings, Newt throws 2 or 3 innings. Then you start to get into Cooper Williams, who hasn't pitched, Meyer, who hasn't pitched, and then potentially Kason Evans could go. I think Maverick Rizzi is okay to go as well, even though he's only had 1 day off. They could theoretically sit him down. I'm curious about all that because this is a staff that's so deep. There are so many guys that you figured you would count on. You are not going to see, more often than not, Griffin Herring go 50 pitches on a Tuesday last year. You knew you had to use him. And so I don't know that guy exists on this staff. They're still trying to get guys multiple innings on this staff and still trying to get multiple guys looks on this staff to get ready for the weekend. So I think that both teams are probably going to throw 6 or 7 pitchers in this game, and that's just the way that midweek games are generally going to go. LSU's going to need to swing the bats because UNO's got some guys that have done that to this point. I mentioned Bryce Callaway at 408, Colin Loops at 380, Brian Lariga is at 370. And they've hit some home runs this year. They've got, let me count that one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in this lineup that have multiple home runs. And so that's not always going to be the case for UNO. They are in conference play. They do have bigger fish to fry than LSU on the weekend to make sure that their seeding is proper and they've got a chance to try to qualify for the NCAA tournament. For LSU, you just got to avoid some of these landmines. Inevitably, you're likely to lose one of these games. That just tends to happen. Maneri had a back-to-back years where he didn't lose any midweek games, and that was incredible. But more often than not, over the course of the season, you're going to lose one. LSU needs to try to avoid that as much as possible, and they'll get UNO coming into the box this evening. Last thing on keys was just to play clean defensively. I'm going to usually point to that. If you look at LSU defensively over the course of the season, Tanner Reeves has kicked a couple balls in left. Milam had 1 throwing error. Dickinson had a throwing error back on Sunday. Catching's been a little bit of an issue, but in the grand scheme of things, LSU has pitched it great. Has caught it great. They played defense really, really, really well, and that's manifested itself in a large part in the stats. The pitching errors have hurt. They've thrown some pickoff throws away, threw a swing bunt away on opening weekend. But they've been pretty good defensively, and that's why they're fielding 980. It helps when your starting shortstop has only been charged with 1 error on the entire season, and he's been responsible in terms of putouts and assists for, let me look at that number, that is 77 putouts and assists. He's made 1 error. He's fielding 987. That's really good stuff from Stephen Milam. So I want to, the way you get beat in these games is you issue free passes and you give up the big 3-run homer. That's the way you get beat in these games. LSU needs to try to avoid that, and for the most part, they have done it. So LSU and UNO on Tuesday evening tonight, 6:30 from the box. You want to listen to it. Eagle 98.1 is our sister station there, the flagship of LSU Athletics, and they'll have the pregame show at 6 o'clock between Chris Blair and Doug Thompson, and first pitch will be a little bit after 6:30. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, Sharif Ishak on the Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal to work with. He texted me. He'll be at the box tonight watching UNO and LSU. Jonathan spent his college days on the baseball field over at UNO, and he's phenomenal on the insurance side of things now as a professional. He and his team are really, really technically apt. They win their business because of their expertise from a technical side on the insurance front. There are a lot of folks in insurance who want to give you a cold call, say, hey, I've got this carrier. I can save you 22%. Just let me take a look at it. And that's really their only play. And maybe they can, but they probably can't because the market is terrible. But the best way to go about it is to make sure that you're properly covered. You're going to think the insurance is expensive either way because no one loves cutting a check for insurance. But what you hate more is cutting that check for insurance than having a loss that's not covered because you tried to cut corners. That's what the Highland Insurance Group guards against. So give them a call. Check them out online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road,
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. Hopefully Hunt remembered to bring his laptop charger. Nah, there's no chance.
More bad news from Pelicans land. Trey Murphy tore his labrum. Like the most exciting player.
That's actually good
on the
news,
team,
Hunt.
So they can tank.
Yeah, they need to keep losing. Lose as many as possible.
He was really coming to his own though. Like he could be an all-star.
No, he will. He will be. That's there's like 10 games left. It's okay. We don't need him. Lose the rest of the games and get the best possible lottery slot.
Tank for Cooper.
Tank for whoever.
Crap out for Cooper.
Apparently Cooper may be going back to Duke. Who knows?
F up for Flag.
That's a good word. Did you just come up with all those at the top of your head?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I mean, not that impressive.
It's pretty impressive. That's one of the most impressive things I've seen you do.
Wow. 3 years or something like that, and that's as impressive as it's been. Amazing stuff. I could probably come up with some more.
Yeah?
Flop for Flag.
That was good. That was easy. That was the easiest one, really.
Crushed for Cooper.
Flounder for Flag.
Yeah, Flounder, either one. Sharif, you got any cool alliterative puns about the Pelicans getting Cooper Flag?
Play like poop for Coop.
Okay.
That's the best one.
Seems like that's not one that you came up with, but I like it a lot. It seems like that's been emanating around New Orleans. What's your reaction to the news that Trey Murphy is significantly injured?
It's on par for the season, honestly. I mean, it happens 49, 50 seconds into the game. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I mean, they have 13 games left in the season, and I'm thinking, you're 18-50 going into that game. I understand some of these players want to play. Some of them might have some stuff in their contracts. They want to like hit their bonuses, but I'm like, man, why are we playing these players again in the lost season? Just go ahead and like tank without tanking. I won't be surprised if you see like less Zion, less CJ McCollum. At this point, it's done. It was done for a long time. Now you just got to hope that you can finish in the bottom three so you can have a better chance at getting Cooper at this point. I mean, there's like no reason to be playing your guys every single game. I mean, it's pointless. You are snake bitten and you're just jinxed. You're cursed. Why are you throwing your players out there to get hurt?
Do you think that they will finish in the bottom three?
I'm looking at their. I need to look at their schedule. They're going to lose both games in Minnesota. I think it looks like they got Charlotte and the Nets. Might be their best bet to win games, but this is no guarantee.
The Brooklyn Fighting Tigers of LSU.
Yeah, those guys are going to torch. I mean, my guy Cam is going to light them up. 3-10 probably is what I have them. Maybe 2-11 to finish the season, because I bet you when you get to that final like 6-7 games, you're not going to see Zion. Watch, they're going to shut him down.
As they should. Just try to protect him. If you can trade him, that's great. If he can come back healthy next year, that's fine too. But we'll see how that all goes. That has been your Pelicans report here. So let's talk about the Saints. I want to talk about the three aging defenders on this team. I want to talk about Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, and Cam Jordan. We know that Tyrann and Cam Jordan have restructured their deals, taking a quote-unquote pay cut there, and that's helping the Saints get under the cap. But those three guys, how much is left in the tank?
I think I'm going to say, the guy that I just does not tail off to me is Demario Davis.
Yeah.
I feel like he continues to put in some good work and continues to grind, and man, he's for the most part stays healthy and gets out there on the field and makes plays. But you can start to see Father Time catching up to him too. I'm going to say, look, those guys are, Demario and Cam are 35, 36, or they're going to both be 36 when the season is going on. I say 1 year. Tyrann might be able to get 2 years out of him. I just think for sure the other two guys have 1 good year. Look, and the new defensive staff under Brandon Staley might be able to re-energize, Cam Jordan and get him a few more sacks. And maybe they push him to the finish line in a good way. I think he was like on his podcast, Off the Edge, he was excited to work with Bo Davis, excited to work with Brandon Staley. I think he threw a little bit of shade at Todd Grantham, calling him Guy McGuy. He wasn't a big fan of Todd Grantham, and not many people were apparently. So I think that he's going to be in a good spot. But I think this is the final ride for Cam Jordan in his NFL career. I just think after this season he'll be 36. I just don't see many more years for him.
His playing time reduced a lot early in the season, and then it ramped up late in the season. Where do you think they settle this coming year? Obviously, Chase Young is now back. Carl Granderson under contract. I don't know what you expect, if anything, from Isaiah Foskey, and we don't know what the Saints are going to do in the draft. But how do you feel like Cam Jordan's snap count role is going to look?
Oh, I failed to mention Brian Young as well, being still on the staff.
Yeah,
he's a big fan of Brian. He's a huge fan of Brian Young, and Brian put him out there for more snaps. I think whenever Brian put him out there for more snaps, his production went up naturally. He's playing more, his production is going to go up more. I think that he knows that he is the second guy off the bench. He knows that like it's Carl and Chase, then him. I mean, he even said it on Twitter. It's Carl, Chase, then me. I just think that's the way he looks at it. He knows how it works now. Still getting paid a lot of money, and I know he wants to be on the field more. But look, they're running a lot of 3-4 under Brandon Staley. And they have to figure it out with Cam Jordan and the rest of the defensive linemen. But I understand. I think he knows his role for the season. He knows what he's going to have to do. So, but at least he still has Brian Young and Bo Davis there, and I think that excites him a lot more than Todd Grantham.
How did you feel Tyrann's year went last year? I feel like there are some mixed reviews on it. I mean, I think he's lost a step and he's a functional player. I don't think he was great last year, and I think a lot of people think he did play really well. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the cliche roller coaster ride. It really was. I mean, he did lose a little bit of a step. I mean, look, I truly think that the whole Dennis Allen saga probably wore on everyone. Everyone was frustrated with it. I think that they knew it was a lost season. They lost. They got to 2-7. I mean, they lost 7 straight games, Hunt. And I think that took a toll on those veteran players. And it's like, hey, naturally you're a human being, and your mind goes to different places whenever you start losing. And I think I don't want to say they didn't care, but I think that at some point in time you're 2-7, you're like, man, where are we going here? I'm playing hard for what we're 2-7 team that isn't even going to sniff the playoffs. So I just think his season was indicative of that record. I mean, it was super up and then super down, and then whenever Rizzy took over, is a little bit better. But it's just, I mean, he's an aging player in a secondary in a game where things are just moving faster, and I mean, he's just older. I mean, that's just what it is.
How big a deal is it for Kellen Moore to have those 3 guys in his locker room in his first year as a head coach when he's essentially their same age?
That is kind of funny. I laugh at his age and those players' ages, but yeah, you still want to have those those leaders who've been in the community, who've been on this team, who've done a lot of positive things. So they may have lost step, but they're still good players, on and off the field, and you need to have that. They have that in Philadelphia, and I think he understands. We need to have that here in New Orleans. We can't just dump all of our veteran players and just have a bunch of young guys running wild. It may work, but at least let me have these veterans this year for one more year, and to set a good standard in the locker room and make sure that they, take care of those young guys, build for the future, just so they can, be there for those young guys. It's fine. It's fine. I've told you, Hunt, this season, and my gut it just feels like another 6-win season, 5-6-win season, and that's okay. I told you that it's going to be a couple-year process, and I'm fine with it. So I think that as long as you have these veterans here teaching the guys, the younger guys, put them in place for the future, it's a good thing.
How do you think the Saints fan base feels about that?
It's just realization. They have to realize that's what they're dealing with. I mean, that's, you wanted a new coach, you wanted a soft rebuild or pretty much a rebuild, and you're getting that. I mean, you're getting it slowly but surely. It's, not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a couple years. So you're going to have to just deal with it for the next season, maybe 2 seasons, in order to build your team.
What do you make of Derek Carr's silence this offseason?
A lot of people didn't like what I tweeted about when I tweeted last week or 2 weeks ago how all the captains and other players were front and center in the Super Bowl and he wasn't. I took a little heat for it. I'm like, I'm fine. I mean, they were all here. He wasn't. I mean, and rightfully so. You should take some heat for it. I mean, even if he's rehabbing, so is Taysom Hill. So are other players. They're all rehabbing. They're all dealing with things, but they're still front and center during the Super Bowl. And you know what they say, Hunt? Silence is deafening. It's just not a good thing. I mean, I think it had probably a lot to do with those whole talks of him taking a cut and them saying, I'm not taking a cut. So I guess there was a little back and forth between the organization and Derek. And
when was the last time there was a disconnect this big between the Saints quarterback and the fan base? Like Aaron Brooks?
I don't even know if it was that bad with Aaron, to be honest with you. I mean, the fans, yes. At least he showed up and played. I mean, he played. He led them to their first ever playoff win.
He did.
I mean, it's just like the disconnect. I have not seen a disconnect like this in a very, 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 very long time. It might have. I mean, look, it might have been under Mike Ditka. I mean, but those quarterbacks were not good. I mean, just for a guy making $40 million a year, there shouldn't be this big of a disconnect.
That's an odd deal, and I don't know if there's any. There is a way to mend it. You go out there and start 7-0, nobody will care at all. But I just don't think that's going to happen, and I just think that's got a chance to get a little bit toxic. So that's our look at the Saints. What can LSU fans expect from the UNO Privateers tonight? They're having a decent start even without their head coach.
I'm glad you asked me about baseball because I was going to ask you about baseball. So
okay.
We'll start from my end. Look, they went out last week on the road and swept UIW.
Yep.
And put up some runs. They can hit. There's one thing that UNO could do is hit. One thing they're struggling to do is pitch. And I think you know that very well from the LSU side of things, they're struggling to pitch. So it's going to be fun. It'll be a fun game. I think that, like, Coach Norris has his team hitting. I just want to see, like, what they can do on the mound against a team like LSU that's, playing some pretty good guerrilla ball and to start the SEC play. So, it's one of those games where LSU should win double digits. No problem. It should be no problem. But, like, I mean, you know. I mean, they usually do fairly well in conference play. It's whenever they get to the tournament when they kind of struggle a bit because they don't have the pitching.
Yeah, I mean, LSU's rolling offensively. I think they'll score a ton of runs tonight. But UNO has hit, and LSU's not going to use its top-end guys, I don't think. Tonight there are some guys that are probably not going to be available. I'd be surprised if Zach Cowan's available. Casey Evans is not available for a long time, and certainly you're not going to use your starters. So it'll be the middle of LSU's bullpen. We'll see if the Privateers can swing the bats a little bit tonight. I don't have many doubt that LSU will. So, Sharif, we appreciate the time. We'll do it again next week.
All right, Please tell me Saturday and Sunday pitchers will be fine after watching them this past weekend.
I can't promise you, but I feel okay about it. We'll see. Texas can hit. We'll find out a lot this weekend in Austin.
All right, Hunt.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU down there in New Orleans. We'll take one more time out, come back, and close it. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, closet space is maybe not something you consider every single day, but there may be somebody under your roof that does. It certainly was the case with me in the house that Alyssa and I lived in, and initially we did not have a lot of closet space. I didn't really care that much, and then she moved in and she was like, this is not going to work. And we had coats and closets down the hall. We had other bedrooms full of clothes. Like, it just, there was some up in the attic. Like, it was bad. And so when we decided to move, instead of call David Duvall One Bath and Closets, we prioritized closet space. Now we do have ample space, and it's made a huge difference. She's a lot happier. If you don't want to move and you want to get that happiness, David Duvall and his team can do it. They can create you a new closet. They're a licensed contractor. They can make that happen for you. But if you kind of have some space but you'd like to use it more efficiently, they can come in and create that customized for you. I can promise you this. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find all of their work. You can find the testimonials from their satisfied customers, and you can get that free consultation today at onebathandclosets.com. Onebathandclosets.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Welcome back to the Hunt Palmer Show. Here's your host, Hunt, the uniform czar, Palmer. Which uniform do you hate now?
The VEX European Bracket Challenge is now underway. Head over to LouisianaSports.net now to get your picks in before the first game begins March 20th. That is just 2 days from now. The most accurate picks take home the grand prize of $1,000. The VEX European Bracket Challenge powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Fun show. Got a lot that we have covered over the last 2 hours, and we got a ton to do tomorrow as well. Of course, we will do the things that we generally do on Wednesdays. That's Koki Riley at 1:15. We'll talk. We'll do What If Wednesday. Matthew Bruni's going to come talk about the LSU women as they get ready for the NCAA tournament this weekend and Massey Baseball Power Rankings. So tons to do on Wednesday's show. We've had a lot of fun here on this Tuesday. I want to remind you to come out to Sports Trivia tonight at Pizza by Roan's. 8 o'clock at Pizza by Roan's. You can win gift cards, eat some pizza, we'll watch some hoops. It's generally a lot of fun. So if you haven't ever come, I invite you to come on out. 8 o'clock, Pizza by Roan's. We'll have you out of there by about 9:30 on this Tuesday. Looking forward to that this evening. One more order of business on this show. That is, of course, Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, first one here. The Cubs are going 0-162. Take it or leave it.
I will leave it.
Leave it alone.
If they played the Dodgers, they'd lose 105.
Probably.
But they don't play the Dodgers very much.
No, they don't.
They play them one more time in Tokyo. Then they play them in Wrigley in a couple weeks. And then I think they've got one more with them, which is quickly after that in Dodger Stadium. And then they're done. And I hear all the time, well, it's good to get them out of the way. Well, it's not good to get them out of the way if you lose all the games.
No, it's not.
You've got to figure out a way to do something. We'll see what my guy Justin Steele can do at 5:10 tomorrow morning. I'll be locked in. I'll put my Cubs shirt on tomorrow morning. I did not do that this morning. We'll make that happen
That's
tomorrow.
why they lost, hon. I don't know if you really thought
I didn't
about
want to get
that,
vomited on.
It's okay. You have a washing machine. It'll clean it out.
I don't want him to puke on my Cubs shirt. I like my Cubs shirt.
Fine. We can wash it, okay? It's gonna be all right if you get a little bit of throw up on it. It's fine.
I've got one white shirt that he threw up, or that Myers threw up on a couple years ago, and now I can't ever wear it unless I put a quarter zip on over it. Which is why winter's great. I can wear a bunch of stained shirts. Nobody knows.
That's true.
Does anyone else do that? Do you do that?
I don't have a lot of stained shirts, but yet at least, yeah, of course. That's a caveat. But yeah, there's no problem with wearing a sweater over
it's
it.
like George in the Seinfeld. He's got the chocolate stain all over his shirt. That's good. Wear it under sweaters and stuff.
Yeah. All right, next one here. Shohei Ohtani said he was nervous playing in Tokyo as the Dodgers won. I think he went 2 for 5, 2 hits,
and I
scored
don't
twice.
Like it. I wish he was sick too.
Yeah,
the whole team's sick.
Yeah, Shohei being nervous. Take it or leave it.
I'm gonna leave. I need Mookie Betts to go make out with Shohei Ohtani. That's what I need. I need the illness transferred over to Shohei.
That's not a great image.
I'm trying to win a baseball game back here. I don't care about the image. I need Shohei sick, out of commission. Mookie sick, get Shohei sick.
Okay.
They need to be sharing needles. Is that what I need to say?
I mean, I don't know if that's any better. That's probably worse, actually. All right, next one here. Cam Hayward, a Steelers stalwart,
Yes.
been there for 15 years.
T-Bob's young teammate.
Yes, of course. Said he's not really into this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. He said he's not going on a darkness retreat. And he says, I don't need any of that crap. Either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. It's that simple. Aaron Rodgers stringing along the Steelers. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's stringing along everybody. He's basically Brett Favre just brought back. If he goes to the the Vikings could use him.
The Vikings, yeah.
I mean, they've got a quarterback they took in the first round last year, but that would be the Brett Favre trajectory. Exactly.
Be nice.
Go the Packers over to the Jets, then to the Vikings. I mean, look, that's just kind of what he does. Darkness retreat. I'm out on darkness retreats too. If it's something that you would like to do, that's great. I'm not going to disparage you in any way. I've got friends that go on silent retreats every year. It's just not my thing. I would go absolutely bananas if LSU was playing a baseball game and I had no way to access how they were doing. I would lose my mind. And that is an issue. I realize it's a me problem. I should be better than that. I'm not better than that.
You're not.
That is what I am.
You are.
I need to know what the score is.
You are.
I really like to watch.
You
and
are
if
what
you got
your
me
record
locked
says
in
you
a
are.
closet somewhere and I can't, then I don't like that. So we're not going to do it.
How about this? SEC aficionado Hunt Palmer taking Duke to win it all.
Yeah.
In the big dance. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
I mean, I realize this doesn't help my cause in trying to win the bracket challenge, but I went through my bracket. The whole thing took less than 3 minutes for sure. And I ended up with 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. I didn't even mean to do that. It just happened. And then we ended up with Duke and who's on the other side?
I don't know. I don't know who. I didn't see your bracket.
I knew that Duke was my best chance to keep the SEC teams off the podium.
Yeah.
Maybe Houston. I just don't know that I can trust Houston to score enough points.
How about this, Hunt? I got the Johnny St. John's going all the way.
That's absurd.
Rick Pitino, Hunt.
That's how you don't win the office pool because they're never going to win.
Oh yeah, they're never going to win.
They have a great coach, but they're not good enough.
It's okay. They have a really good team, Hunt. They've got plenty of quad 1 wins. All right.
Plenty of quad 1 wins. North Carolina does it, and they're in still.
No, they don't.
That's it for us. Missed any of the show, catch it on demand. Matt's going to drive you home coming up on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play.